Tara, you have served and currently serve on numerous boards, almost too many to name, but just to highlight a few. You were just appointed to the board of directors for the International Center for Research on Women. You're on the board of an independent school in New York City. She's the First, a nonprofit organization. How have you found your board roles, or rather, how have they found you? And what advice do you have or guidance to give for those who are looking to find a seat on a board?
I don't necessarily think that there's one formula that X plus Y equals perfect board member, that even when we talk about that trifecta, I think the age-old time plus talent plus treasure, it's not as though one person brings only one of those to the table, and even that you have the same amount of each to offer at any one time. These things shift and evolve, and it also depends on the stage where the organization is, what is of most value to them, whether it is really being able to get your hands into the guts of an organization and help them grow to the next kind of budgetary milestone, or if it's about engaging on a particular event, celebrating a particular milestone. So there's just a lot of ways to think about almost a mix of assets and skills that potential board members bring to an organization. And it's not that you have to have reached some pinnacle of your career or some milestone that individually that will make you more attractive to an organization. It is all about relationships. And so, there is a cultivation process that happens even once you join a board to really get to know the organization. And you may offer different things at different moments that are all of tremendous value to a nonprofit.
What are nonprofits looking for in their board members? What are the most, desirable and important credentials or skills for individuals to have?
I think ultimately it comes down to nonprofits wanting to fill gaps in their organization. The reality is that as brilliant as a programmatic model may be, as important as the mission may be, nonprofits tend to be under-resourced. They may have fewer staff than they need to actually execute on their mission. They certainly may have fewer resources available to them than they might have if they were to reformulate their organization as a for-profit and be able to access different kinds of capital. And so board members, the best board members, I think, come to an organization with an ability to fill those gaps. It could be, frankly, rolling up your sleeves and getting into a strategic planning process with an organization. I will say, for us right now at She's the First, for example, there is a significant amount of time that all of our board members are spending, given the realities of COVID-19 and the outlook for nonprofits going into the end of 2020. Beyond that, I think that there are so many ways that prospective board members can lend their skills, knowledge, credibility, expertise to organizations when there's just the reality that they would not be able to afford to bring on that talent in-house. So it could be, right now especially, it could be someone who's really got a facility for planning a spectacular virtual event that actually brings in funding to the organization. In other instances, it could be a board member who has experience growing a small business, which would be very applicable to a nonprofit is at an inflection point and that is looking to grow to significant scale to serve more of their target population, or to grow beyond its existing staff to cover more countries, for example. And then I think the final piece is around treasure. I mean, nonprofits are looking for board members to make a financial commitment. And I don't think that we can have an accurate conversation, an honest conversation about board service if we don't address that. There's so many ways to bring in that treasure piece. Nonprofits often talk about the give-get of their board, which is to say, how much are you giving yourself personally, or how much are you actually helping to raise through your networks, your relationships, your community? And the latter may be just as valuable, perhaps even more valuable to the organization than the check that you personally are able to write. Because what it means is it grows the stakeholders who are aware of what the organization does and who are in turn passionate about engaging their own networks to get involved in that particular issue area.